Hi, this is Michael Tallis with the Tallis team. Today, I'm sitting down with Celina Acosta. She's a very experienced agent in Arizona area, Phoenix and suburbs. So, Celina, why won't you introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you, Michael, for having me as a guest in your show. Yeah, my name's Celina Acosta. Thank you. And I'm a real estate agent here in the Phoenix, Arizona metropolitan area. Been an agent for 16 years. And I guess you can say that I've seen a lot of different markets throughout that time. Yeah, I've been living in Arizona for most of my life. So I know this state really well, especially this area. This is where I went to college. This is where I grew up.
Wow.
So I have a lot of roots here, and I just love it. I just love, living here. Of course, I visit a lot of states. I was just in California a few days ago.
Where in California?
We were actually in Disneyland. So we did Anaheim.
And that's not California.
Yeah, I know. We did LA, we did Anaheim, we did Huntington Beach and Newport Beach.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
That's beautiful. And coastal communities.
Very beautiful. And I mean, California is so diverse. So I know that your area is different, which I've been to your area. Yeah. And then even, the wine country and like even San Diego and the border areas. It's just,
Well, we're a big state. We're very big.
Yes.
So tell me, what I hear that Arizona is the second highest destination for Californians living the state. So tell me, why would people choose to move to Arizona? What would be the main reasons?
Yeah, so I thought we were the #1 state, destination for California, but
I probably was reading a wrong article.
So it's actually the #1 for us because we do get people from other states, from many other states, including the Midwest and of course, California being a #1 state. And it's not a new thing. So a lot of people think that ever since the pandemic, we just got, all these Californians are moving here. They're, that's not new. Maybe like extra people, started moving here, but
it probably got attention because California lost population first time in its history.
Exactly.
And that's why people started focusing on these migration patterns.
Right. I think so too. Even though it was happening, since the beginning of time, now people started noticing. So I would say it's like 3 major reasons. There's a lot of reasons why people would move here, but there's like the big 3, how I like to call them, which is affordability, job opportunities, and the weather, which are the main 3 reasons why people would move here. And it's, we get like 2 different groups of people that move here. And this is again throughout history, which we have the snowbirds and retirees.
I like the name snowbirds.
Yes. And then we have like the second group, which are, working age people. So people that looking for better job opportunities, and they're in that age that they're in their productive years of, growing and building their wealth, if you will. So again, for those reasons, the affordability, I think it's for both groups. Weather is mostly retirees and snowbirds. And whereas the second group doesn't care about weather, but of course it's always a plus because we get over 300 days of sunshine here. And who doesn't like sunshine, right?
Well, my stereotype that it's always hot in Arizona, but when I visited, it was typically winter time, so it was beautiful.
And it was beautiful. Yeah, so obviously there are extremes and people like to focus on in extremes. Arizona has, I believe, 3 hot months. But out of the 12 months of the year, 4 are in the 3-digit, like the weather, the heat is in like 100s, right? It goes all the way to 115, like on a really hot day.
Good sauna.
Yes, but it's dry. So that's the thing. It's not humid like a sauna. So it feels a little bit more bearable than if it was more humid.
Right.
And then all the other 8 months out of the year are beautiful. So, it's like there has to be like a give and take, right?
Right. Yeah, I was actually reading recently, and I was surprised how much water recreation is available in
so much
in Arizona.
So
apparently more lakes. We always have this stereotype of Desert.
desert. Yes. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because some people, you know, what's really funny to me, I talk to a lot of people that are moving or thinking about moving to Arizona. Some people end up moving, some people don't move, but a lot of the people I talk to have never even visited Arizona, but they already know they're active. They already know they're going to buy a house and they're going to move. So then I have to really start at ground zero with them. Mm-hmm. Because now it's like, whenever I say, hey, have you been here? What city do you want to be in? Or where do you want to be close to? They're like, well, that's where I need your guidance. I don't know.
Got it.
You know, it's all the same to me. So then we really start I'm really like a guide of the state or the.
So if somebody is in that position, what would be a typical subject you need to cover to mm-hmm. kind of set the landscape and get them moving? Like 5 things you need to know before moving.
Yeah. So the first thing I need to know is find out about each person. Everybody's different. Everybody's intentions, backgrounds, lifestyles are different. So first I need to find out about you. So let's say I was talking to you, Michael. I would say, mm-hmm. What do you do? Are you moving for work? Are you moving to retire? Are you moving? What brings you here? Mm-hmm. And then that will help me finding out a little bit more about you, what you like, what you don't like, your lifestyle, how active you are. Right. Recommend certain areas, and of course your price point will also dictate where you end up. Mm-hmm. And so kind of we take it from there. We look at different options, and then we may kind of start big, kind of like 3 major cities, and mm-hmm. then just focus on one. Some people love to hike, so that we're talking about the outdoors. We have also lakes around the metropolitan area, just outside. Right. And they're man-made lakes. So, but there's a lot of recreation there. There's a lot of boating, like fishing, all that. And there's mm-hmm. also a lot of hiking. And even like within the city, you can just go and hike a mountain. Right. We have different mountains around the Phoenix metro. So some people really like that style too. And if you have dogs, if you have kids, all that, I take all that into consideration and recommend different things.
Right. Mm-hmm. So when people are moving for jobs, what kind of jobs are most commonly available? Like here in the Bay Area, we basically have high tech, we have biotech, we have financial, mm-hmm. Kind of probably 3 major industries, yes. And everybody else is moving around it. So what about your area?
My area would be construction, also technology. There's healthcare. There's a lot of, especially in the last year, I've had a lot of doctors from other states move to Arizona.
Well, it kind of makes sense if there is a lot of retirees moving in.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
So for retirees and snowbirds, they always want to be close to quality healthcare and then the proximity of healthcare. So that's another thing I would ask is, your age, maybe. I'll find out some way or another, and then I know that's important to them. So yeah, healthcare, construction, technology. I don't know if you know, but there is a lot of technology here, a lot of hubs, like Chandler, for instance, Chandler, Arizona, which is a city just southeast of Phoenix, of the Phoenix metro. It's known as the Silicon Desert. Yeah, and just because of, it's a hub of all this, tech companies.
No, it makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard that other areas trying to create something with the word silicon, but well, we're probably way too snooty here in the original one. But
you're not recognizing it.
We probably just don't know about it, and that's why I'm talking to you to learn about it.
Learn more, yeah, absolutely.
So, if people are moving in, from point of view of housing, what should they expect? Because like if somebody moves to my area, I would say a typical home probably will be somewhere between 16 and 2,200 square feet. And most of them are 3-bedroom, 2-bath, mm-hmm. something like that.
And what's your price point for that, for something like that?
Well, it's pretty wide because we have everything from probably 600-800s, and then the sky is the limit. I mean,
wow, yes.
So,
mm-hmm. And it depends in the area too, right? Because you have like different cities in your metro area as well.
There are some, we have cities like Atherton, we have Los Altos Hills, some of the most not just expensive cities, but that's where people with the highest level of income
Right.
settle.
Right.
Even though
So that,
Zuckerberg lives in Palo Alto, he is not in one of those. But
yes, yes, yeah. So I thought Palo Alto would be like the one with the highest.
It's more diverse.
Okay.
So we have people. Steve Jobs used to live in Palo Alto. Marisa Myers still lives here. I will say Chen Zuckerberg because I'm thinking about the foundation. But he's still living in the city, as far as I know. But that's not the most expensive city, because if you go a little further from the downtown, the median price probably will be in $3.5 million. That
okay,
is
so yeah, there's a big
lower that than in places like Los
Yeah.
Altos Hills, where you cannot subdivide below 1 acre.
Right.
So it's kind of different type of properties.
Yeah. So just to, of course, here there's a big range in like you said, like you can get an acre, you can get like an average lot. So we're going to talk about average, what an average
Right.
Phoenix house would be. So the median sales price right now for the Phoenix Metro is $478,000.
Okay.
And then it would get you a house probably like between 1,400 and 1,600 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And then the average lot here in the urban, areas is like 6,000 square feet.
Oh, that's very similar, because
Very similar.
the sizes and the size of the lot typically is somewhere between 5.5 to like 7. That's kind of the typical range.
Exactly. So then if you get something in the 9 or above, then it's almost like an oversized lot,
Right.
You get like a bigger backyard and stuff like that. So, but yeah, of course, there are areas in Phoenix or even just outside of Phoenix, where there's like acre lots, even bigger than an acre. Then there's horse properties and, all those things. So then, yeah, and they're still considered, in part of the metro area. So, but yeah, if you're like in the center of Phoenix, in and around, and I don't know if you visited here, I think you have, but the airport's right in the center as well.
Right.
If you look at a map, you see like the airport in the center, and like all the other metro areas are around it. So that's usually what I use as if I feel something is too far. I don't really measure it from my house. I really measure it from the airport. So like,
I see.
Because it's in the center. So if it's already like far from there, then it's far, right? Because then what if I live kind of on the edge? Then everything's gonna be far.
but your traffic is not as crazy.
It's not as crazy. It gets crazy sometimes, depending, of course, rush hour. Also depending on what season of the year. The highest visited season here is winter, fall, and winter, and the beginning of spring. And you can really sense that shift in traffic. You get stuck in traffic more. You see license plates from other states all over the place. You also sense there's a different style in driving.
Californians are speeding.
Yes, they're speeding and more aggressive maybe. But yeah, so it's not as bad as, the freeways in California, but it's still, it's still busy.
So if somebody's moving out, if they're looking for a home immediately, what kind of expectations you would describe to them for the process, and how long the search would take? And if you can also talk about how long homes are staying on the market, and how long it takes typically to close the deal from the moment the contract is ratified till they can move in.
Right. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Again, if you're looking for something very typical, so let's just pretend that you're looking for something very typical, like the house we just described. So right now, the average days on the market is 7 from the moment that house is on the market.
Average.
Yeah, so that's like the median, days on the market. And from the moment the home is like on the market to when it changes statuses, meaning it got a contract or it's under contract. So there is a little bit of it depends on how the agent changed the status, because if you change it to pending, then the days stop. The days stop counting. But if you change it to accepted contract accepted contract, backup offers, they're being like open to backup offers. Well, the days keep accruing.
Interesting.
Yeah, but the house is no longer available because he has an accepted contract. So
yeah, in our area, it's called active contingent or contingent offer. And our counter is also stopping on the day when we're changing status to active contingent.
Okay.
Not
here.
Different MLSs.
Yes, different MLSs. But if if you do a search for whenever they actually accept a contract, it's like 7 days. And we're talking about the typical house. Obviously, for something more less than that or more than that, you could be like maybe 45 days on the market. It really depends on how well the house was priced to begin with, as you know, how well it was marketed, all those things.
So, and typical search, how long does it take for, in your practice, how long people typically look for it? Are we talking about a few weeks, a few months?
Yeah, it could take a few weeks. It always also depends on the person's timeline. Sometimes they have a very specific timeline, and that really speeds up the process. If they say, I only have a month because I start my job or my kids start school or whatever it is. So that will speed up the process because we're very focused. But if you have more flexibility and also how many areas you're looking for, because sometimes people are like, well, I want to see North Phoenix and I want to see in South Phoenix and then maybe the West Valley. Well, that's going to take a little longer, but let's just say, just to keep it simple, we already know the area, it may take maybe 2 weeks. Not searching every day, but like a 2-week period where we're browsing, we're looking, we're making offers. And
that's fast.
Yeah, and all of a sudden we get an accepted contract, and then from there, if everything goes well, it's typically a month of escrow.
So 30 days.
Like a 30-day escrow. Sometimes if it's a cash offer, they can close sooner. Yeah, but the typical, escrow period is 30 days.
Right. If people are buying a home, what kind of problems in the house itself they should be kind of aware of? In our area is like the obvious stuff, kind of mechanical stuff, but everybody's worrying about termites.
Oh yeah. Well, here too, the funny thing, do you have the desert termites, the subterranean termites as well?
We have subterranean, but I don't know if they're the same type.
Okay, there's different types, come to find out. Here we have those desert termites, which are subterranean. Luckily, there are the ones that cause the less damage. Because they live in the ground and they just come from the ground to eat, and they don't cause a lot of damage. I mean, you could be like, let termites be for months, and once you find them and you treat them, then it should be fine. It will be like minimal damage.
So, but what are like the typical problems?
So the typical problems. You know what's really concerning from people from other states, that they're always like, oh, am I gonna find this in the house? It's usually scorpions, which is very, very typical here. Coyotes, depending on where you live in the city, some coyotes are actually very urban. Maybe when they're hungry, they come out and they don't care where they are.
They know where to find food.
Yeah, exactly. So coyotes, they could be bobcats, wildcats.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they when they're hungry, they don't like people either. So they don't want to attack people. They don't want to really interact with people. They're just looking for food. And sometimes it could be your pet. So you have to be careful with your little dogs, And again, that's kind of like more in the outskirts where like the desert meets the city, not in the urban areas as much.
But it's probably beautiful areas too.
Beautiful. It's really, really, really beautiful. Really beautiful landscapes. You can see there's mountain views. You can see the mountains. You can see the desert, flora. And we really have to learn how to cohabitate with the desert animals as well. So if we don't bother them, they won't bother us. But you can, if you go on a hike, you can see rattlesnakes. Again, they're out because they're hungry. Or they're thirsty, but it's common to see, snakes and all kinds of jackrabbits and all kinds of things during a
Well, I'm comfortable with jackrabbits.
Yeah,
I will skip the rest. Yeah. I assume that a lot of people are moving in your area that are having kids. So can you talk a little bit about schools and what kind of facilities are kid friendly? What kind of activities are designed for kids?
Yeah, there is a lot of families moving here, and then that also depends on where. Like they usually go to the suburbs, like most people with families or growing families or children do. They prefer to live in the, so they can live everywhere in Phoenix, but the suburbs usually offer more parks, more outside, places to play, play areas, and schools. You can find good schools everywhere in the Phoenix metro. So it's not just exclusive to certain suburbs, or, you can find great schools even in the downtown area, and private and public as well.
Nice. So are there multiple school districts? How is that structured? Because in our area, city boundaries and school district boundaries have nothing in common. So,
I didn't know that. That's
they're overlapping, and some larger cities have multiple school districts, like San Jose has a bunch of them.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So there is multiple school districts. Normally, it's like, let's say the Chandler School District, the Mesa Unified School District, stuff like that. But then there's different numbers. So depending on how big the city is, it could be like school district number 1 or 12 or 6 or whatever. So, but if you normally the boundaries stay, they make sense if you look at a map. But then because of the building patterns, some, like, depending in the area, so like the Southeast Valley, there was a lot of agricultural land. So as that land was being sold to builders, not everybody sold at the same time, and not everybody sold, like exactly in the same pattern. So then, development started in different communities where maybe there was nothing there. And that's why kind of like the school boundaries and zoning will change. But normally they make sense, and they're very territorial, and you can look at a map and figure out where you are.
Yeah, you have to know if you are very particular about the schools.
Right, exactly. So in which some of my clients are, and that's why, we need to talk about that, and we need to look at maps, and we need to like figure out about the schools and all that, for sure. Yes.
Yeah, we just wanted to share, because we have one condo development where half of the condo development goes to one school district and another half to another.
Oh my gosh.
Because the developer, when he had to get an approval, he had to split it between 2 cities, even though it's one city address, but there are two school districts.
Why did he do that? That's so interesting.
I guess it was a push from the city.
Okay.
Because they just didn't want to get more kids in the school.
Right. But, yeah. Some school districts are more populated than others, and then you have to kind of like send kids to another.
And then it changes also with demographic shifts. We had a moment when after the baby boomers, there was a decline in school population. So a lot of schools were closed in our area, and now they're trying to reopen some of them because there is more kids. Mm-hmm. So it's on and off.
Exactly. So I think we have a lot of the same things, except for, I don't know of any apartment complex that is split between 2 cities.
No, it's a condo.
Condo complex. But there is a thing where you think you're in a school district, but turns out just because you cross the street, it changed. And it could change for the better or for the worse. So sometimes you can get exceptions and stuff like that if you want to, but
yeah, you have to be careful if you're very particular. Same in our area.
Exactly.
So now the food. What are you guys famous for? What's the most important?
There is, because we are in the border with Mexico, which is another reason why people, I think the location is what a lot of people like Arizona, mm-hmm. because we have our neighboring states is California, Nevada, then it's a borders with Mexico. So you are like within like a 5-hour drive to Los Angeles, Las Vegas, even, Mexico within 3 hours. You can go to a Mexican beach within,
Interesting. I never thought about it.
Yeah, exactly. Because as you know, Arizona it's landlocked, so it doesn't have a coast, but it's very close to a coast if they drive down to Mexico. So that's a very popular thing that.
So how far into Mexico you need to go in order to get to water?
Into Mexico, 30 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's really surprising.
Yes. So you're basically driving through Arizona for like 3.5 hours, and then you cross the border, and then the last 30 minutes is just to get to the beach, basically. And that's why it's so popular. A lot of Phoenicians go there for weekends. A lot of Phoenicians own property there in that coastal town, which is called Rocky Point.
Mm-hmm.
And they have condos, and it's a beautiful, beautiful town. So
I can imagine and it's warm ocean. So it's what's the name of that bay by Baja California?
it's the Sea of Cortez.
So that's where
It's right in the armpit. You know, if you see like the California and then Baja, so that looks like an arm, and then there's like an armpit area. So that's where it is, which is, you know, in the Sea of Cortez is really warm waters. So which is really nice because you can actually get in the beach as opposed to, you know, in California coast, which is
Northern California, without a wetsuit, don't try.
Exactly, especially in your area, which is cold. But yeah, so then talking about Arizona again, you asked me about food. Because we are so close to Mexico, I think there's a lot of Mexican influence in the food. But there's everything. I mean, like every other major city, there's a lot of sophisticated restaurants, so they bring a lot of fusions and flavors, and depending who the chef is gonna create different things. But there's a lot of Asian communities as well, and there's a lot of, you know, Asian flavors and Southwest flavors and Mexican flavors and all kinds.
That will be very interesting to fuse those two.
Yeah, there is a restaurant that fuse Chinese and Mexican food, and it's actually really good.
Wow, that's not common in our area. And in terms of cultural events, where would be kind of destinations within the Phoenix area? Is it downtown, or there are some other?
Yeah, there's different. There's Scottsdale. There's a lot of cultural events there too in the downtown Scottsdale area, downtown Phoenix area. There, for instance, in Phoenix, downtown Phoenix, there's like a First Friday Art Walk, which is the first Friday of every month. And there in the downtown area of Phoenix, there's a lot of art galleries and restaurants and bars and cafes and breweries and all kinds of things that, especially in the cooler months, is really cool to do, because right at 5 p.m., all the art galleries open the doors to the public, because usually those types of businesses close at 5 p.m., right? Well, every Friday, the first Friday of every month, they open the doors to the public, and people could come and go as they please, browse, look at art. You can bring your kids, you can whatever. Even people that don't normally visit downtown Phoenix go there because they get a chance to do that.
That's beautiful. And any museums that stand out?
Yeah, there is the Heard Museum. There's the Musical Instrument Museum. So the Musical Instrument Museum is going to be more north, like in Scottsdale, and then all the other museums are going to be in Phoenix. So there's
it's all around Phoenix. No, it's I assume that people who are thinking about moving there would think what to do on the weekends when they're not working.
There is a lot to do. There's other, you know, exhibits that you can see, because there's a lot of like Wild West influence here in Arizona. So there's Westworld. I mean, there's a lot of different exhibits.
Have you watched Westworld?
Is that a movie?
It was a TV series.
Okay.
But it's
maybe
it's after an old movie, but it's it's a different conversation. If you would think about your metro area, what would be kind of a few best and the few worst things? What would you like to change? What would you like people who are coming over to expect and know?
The complaints I've heard, which they don't necessarily mean they're my complaints, right?
Right.
Because we talked about all the good things. We talked about what everybody likes, which is the weather and the beauty, how beautiful the landscape, and how many things to do, and the affordability and all these things, right? I would say what people complain about the most, or what it makes them end up ultimately moving out of the state, I think. It's also the weather. Some people cannot stand like those 4 months out of the year that I told you about, where it just gets really hot. And then other complaints that I've heard is like it's very like homogenized, like very like uniform. which is not true. I think like once you get in and immersed into the vibe and the culture, you can see all the differences, even difference in architecture. But if you kind of fly in, everything looks the same. If you're in the sky, right? Everything will be the same color, which is brown and beige, right? But then once
Desert.
you're in it, and then you really appreciate everything, and you go to the different areas, if you're just stuck in your house and never go out, everything's gonna look the same.
Then they're always the same.
Exactly. But if you're out, you go to downtown Phoenix is very diversified too. And just to the downtown areas of every city, then you'll see that how different, you know, every is, the vibe, food, everything. So it's just like it's not as obvious. That's the
Right.
thing.
No, it just, even in our area that is known for very kind of mixed group of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people know kind of three destinations: their home, where they get food, and where they work.
Exactly.
And they move through between these 3 points.
Exactly.
And maybe where the school is, 4 points. And when you are trying to shop for a house, the first thing you need to do is take them out of their well-known travel pattern, and show them other communities, and they are surprised that they just never knew about it.
Exactly.
They never even tried to, I don't know, taste a different downtown.
Exactly. So, and then you can either, there's groups, there's like, let's say like bicycle people, like people that go on bicycles and meet, and then they in the bicycle, the same as walking, you can see more, because when you're driving, you don't see anything, right? Or especially if you're just going from home to work. But if you are really taking it in, which is either by foot or by bicycle, I think you get to see more, and then you get to appreciate more, which I think, because I've done that, I think that's why I know what there is, and the things that the city has to offer.
Yeah, that's kind of a requirement for somebody who will introduce people to the area. No more than they potentially may know.
Right. True. Like, do you
and this helps. You grew up in the area. That's should be a big help.
That true. Yeah, I grew up, and then I lived in different towns throughout the metro area. Like I've been, because I went to ASU, which is in Tempe, Arizona. So Tempe, Scottsdale, East Phoenix, now Chandler. So like as you move, and then I was at different stages in my life. So when I was single, I had a different lifestyle than, you know, when I was married, before kids, and then after kids. Like every lifestyle has like a different, you know, life. Yeah. So you know how it goes. It's like, you know, you do things, but there's always fun things to do at any age, with and without kids. So that shouldn't be any excuse. With and without pets, there's like a bit, just like in California, I think everybody has a lot. I mean, a lot of people have pets here, a lot of dogs, right? There's a lot of things to do for dogs too. There's dog parks and hiking and this and that. So like there's, you know.
Yeah, well, my little guy is sleeping somewhere behind me.
Yes, exactly.
I hope you cannot hear him
no,
snoring.
I can't hear anything.
When people are moving, when would be the best time to get in touch with you, and what would be the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, so we're gonna put it underneath this video. I'm gonna give you my Instagram.
Definitely.
At Celina Sells AZ. And then my phone number will be also tagged, right? Which is 602-413-2951.
But how early? What will be the right stage? We'll put all your contact info down there.
The right stage, and I'm glad you're touching on that subject. It's never too early. Never too early to involve the real estate person, because what a good real estate agent will do is he or she would be your guide. So it's like really like your consultant, your guide. You're like, I get calls from people saying, I'm thinking about moving to Arizona. And I love having those conversations. Some people end up moving to Arizona and some people don't, but that's great, because it was that conversation that maybe, you know, they may realize that that's what they wanted, or maybe they don't want it, right? So never too early to include your guide, because then once you find out information, and then of course, then the next step is getting ready for the purchase, which is in some, you know, instances, the biggest purchase of your life. Right. So it could be whether it's cash or finance. 75% of the purchases are financed right now. So then we have to involve a lender in how you're gonna, acquire the house and all these things.
Right.
So I want to be included from the beginning.
Got it.
Yes.
So the earlier the better.
The earlier the better. It's never too soon. Some people are a year out or a year and a half out, and some people are 3 months out or a month out. So don't think that just because it's too soon, as you know, it's never too soon. Never too early. I like to be involved because I think like the information that I have to share will be really, really useful. And it's really going to help you get more clarity on that move.
And I assume that we or everybody or anybody can start remote. So we can do, or you can do Zoom and share information about homes on the screen and maps and locations.
Exactly. Thanks to technology, especially the last 2 years, I've utilized Zoom and FaceTime more than ever before, even though they were there before. But now there's a lot of virtual tours. There's a lot of ways of getting in front of a house. You don't have to be physically in front of a house, but we can do I'm going to do the best that I can to make you feel that you're there. Mm-hmm. Even when you're not there, and just I'll be your eyes and feet on the ground and your eyes and ears here.
But you're fully open right now. There is no COVID-related restrictions in terms of
not right now
getting in the homes or anything like that.
Exactly, not right now. So that's not an issue right now.
Who knows
who knows, and it might change, but we will adapt, just like we did earlier, in the first stages of the pandemic.
Right. First of all, I want to thank you and sharing with me and
thank you
and people who will be watching this video, and good luck with your business, and hopefully you will be helping more people every year. So
yeah, thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate you making a little space for me and sharing about Phoenix, Arizona. And so I'm gonna interview you next time to talk about the Bay Area and people.
Yeah, well, I'm ready when you are.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.